What's going on, guys? How are your meatballs? Today I'm going to be giving you my first impressions of Call of Duty Modern Warfare Zombies, my raw, unfiltered thoughts after jumping to the mode for the first 24 hours. Now, if you don't know me, I'm somebody who loves traditional zombies gameplay, meaning I love round-based zombies maps and almost only round-based zombies maps. I gave Cold War's Outbreak a try, and this is a Call of Duty Zombies channel. I don't know why I'm talking so generally as if I've never played them before, but I've tried Outbreak before, and I played it a lot, I streamed it a lot, I grinded videos on it, but I just am not the biggest fan of Outbreak. I just don't feel like that is zombies. Obviously, Modern Warfare Zombies is a next iteration of Outbreak inside of Call of Duty Zombies. Sure, I'm aware it shares more of its DNA with DMZ, but you can only imagine that this was initially kind of the direction they wanted to take for Outbreak in a sense. Maybe not fully to this capacity, but I'm sure there's aspects of this game mode that they definitely wanted to implement into Outbreak, but they just really couldn't because it was so different from the regular traditional round-based experience. So as somebody who loves round-based inside of Cold War Zombies, and more specifically loved the round-based back in Black Ops 3 Zombies, Black Ops 4 Zombies, and I like that era way better than anything we've received since then, I can truthfully say that Modern Warfare Zombies, I am liking what I'm seeing. Do I think that this is the greatest game mode ever? No. But I'll tell you one thing, and one thing for sure. Call of Duty Vanguard Zombies is the worst Call of Duty Zombies game of all time. That is absolutely confirmed. This blows that way out of the water. There was a conversation before this game came out. We were wondering which game would be worse, which is a terrible way to think about things, right? You always want to be as positive as possible, as optimistic as possible, and if it doesn't live up to your expectations, so be it. But there's been some talk around the community. I've also seen it in my Discord. Check out the Discord link down below in the description. Elite Call of Duty Zombies Discord, the Meatball Army. As well as subscribe here if you do enjoy COD Zombies content. I make the most elite COD Zombies videos, and I stream every single day on Twitch. It's always COD Zombies as well. But anyways, in the community, both my community and tons of other communities and just the Zombies community, there was discussion about Modern Warfare Zombies potentially being the worst ever. I'm here to say that it is not. It offers a lot of depth. A mode that you wouldn't expect there to be much depth in, although I know it's its own full-fledged mode, and once you initially start playing it, you're like, damn, I can't go through rounds and the games are capped to 1 hour for the most part. What am I really supposed to do? Once you kind of start playing, you realize that mentality is completely wrong, because I'll be honest with you, that was the exact mentality I went in with. Well, first off, my mentality is I'm going to play this game, I'm going to grind this game, I'm going to stream this game, I'm going to make videos on this game, because I need new content and I want the channel to succeed. And quite frankly, there's been nothing too much that I've been too happy about lately that I've been able to play. Custom Zombie, sure, but I'm tired of it. As much as I love BO3 and I blow off BO3, I want to play something new. So even if this game sucks, which it doesn't, I'm still going to grind it. But of course, as you guys know, I will always give you my raw opinions and input on everything. But yeah, I'm happy to say at the least, it is definitely not the worst Zombies game mode of all time. At its best, I'll tell you it's definitely not the best Zombies mode of all time. So now we have kind of brackets around where we can place this mode. We know it's not one, we know it's not last. And the goal isn't necessarily to rank it against other Zombies game in a tier list, it's just to kind of compare everything together against each other. And also, you got to remember one thing is that it's kind of hard to compare this mode against other games because this game is completely different than anything we've ever received. For good or for bad, I like to say often to people on my streams and whatever it may be on X, on Twitter, it's important that we get this year of Zombies because they really get to see what something so drastically different what the vast majority of people like and what the vast majority of people don't like. Because with Treyarch's game next year, and more than likely there being another version of Outbreak, they can really fine-tune stuff within the Outbreak game mode based off this Modern Warfare Zombies feedback. And that's the reason why I'm least pressured at all when playing this mode in the Modern Warfare Zombies mode, because I know next year Treyarch's going to deliver an insane Call of Duty Zombies experience that they've had 4 full years to work on. Sure, their efforts were slightly deflected away because of Vanguard Zombies and slightly deflected away because of Modern Warfare Zombies, but for the most part, Treyarch's main core team has had 3+, really up to 4 years to work on a real good Call of Duty Zombies experience with full-fledged round-based maps with tons of Easter eggs, and even, we believe, the next iteration of Outbreak, which should be awesome. So again, to this point, we put brackets around Modern Warfare Zombies, and we've also stated that the expectations are not that high, but the need for the mode is actually pretty high. So let's move into it. What does it have to offer? Well, first off, like I said, there's a lot of depth to this mode. Initially, you may just go in and think, okay, there's these acts that I have to do, and then you realize that it's not just 3 acts, 3 games. No, it's 3 acts, and there's multiple missions per act. These acts take a pretty damn long time to do. And on top of that, while you're doing each act, you can collect different weapons and leave with those weapons. You have contraband weapons that you can put into your loadout system that are one-time use weapons. If you die, you lose them. You have different different insured items. You have a rucksack of multiple different sizes where you can store items. You have a cache where you can store items that you got from your game and exfilled with. You can keep items from game to game so long as you exfil and survive. You have schematics that are as powerful as letting you spawn in with the ray gun. You can drink Juggernog as soon as you spawn in. Like I said, I'm a traditional Call of Duty Zombies fan. Hearing a lot of this stuff isn't the greatest thing in the world to me initially, but once I again take my head out of the gutter and I realize not that Call of Duty Zombies is going in a different direction, that's not really what I don't want that to be the case, and it doesn't need to be the case, and that's what people have to realize. People say, well, they're going to be moving in a different direction. No, there's no reason for them to do that. If we like what we like I love round-based and I only want round-based, like I want maps like Black Ops 4 and Black Ops 3 Zombies maps back. If that's what the community wants and they stop playing these modes or stop enjoying them as much as the old stuff, they're going to be forced to bring back the old stuff. Not necessarily remake it, but to bring it back with the same kind of creational direction. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that I want this mode to flop or Outbreak to flop this way we get that stuff. I want it in conjunction with all that stuff. But I just wanted to point out that just because one exists doesn't mean the other doesn't have to. Just because I want Outbreak doesn't mean, or just because I want round-based doesn't mean Outbreak doesn't have to exist. Just because people want Outbreak doesn't mean round-based has to fade away. It's not old, it's not outdated. Whoever tells you that has their head in the gutter. But yeah, anyways, moving back into it, we have all of this depth inside of Modern Warfare Zombies, from all of the weapons you can use in exfil with, all of the camos you can get from the mastery camos that I honestly think look really good. Not the best ever, let's be honest, but I think they look pretty damn solid and they're worth grinding in my opinion, especially since they're not too tedious to get. You have two sets of mastery camos to get, actually, a set of mastery camos for the Modern Warfare 2 weapons and a set of camos for the Modern Warfare 3 weapons, as well as you have hundreds of camos for each gun. You also have your traditional loadout with your tacticals and lethals that you can pick, your field upgrades, which do feel a little lackluster, not their effectiveness. Their effectiveness is still good, it's still there. It's just that they're the same ones from Cold War Zombies, which I love the field upgrades from Cold War Zombies. It's just, you know, I would have liked to see something new. I think that's the biggest issue with this game, is that anything that they've offered from you know, that Zombies-esque is from Cold War Zombies. Like, for example, you can pack a bunch of weapon in this game mode, obviously, other than using the pack-a-punch machine, which is also the Cold War model, but you can pack a bunch of weapon using Aetherium crystals, which actually that is new, but they even use the same thing from Cold War Zombies. I guess it makes sense story-wise and just, you know, Aetherium crystals, it makes sense to be able to pack a bunch of weapon with those, but that is technically the only new thing I'd say in terms of like the Zombies-esque things available to you. But the wrenches, for example, although they did add rarities to them, and I do like that, they upgraded the feature, which is always what you're looking for. If there's something that could be done to something that's in a Zombies mode that could make it better, you'd want that to happen. They had wrenches in Cold War Zombies that upgraded your weapon rarity. Now, in a mode that's free roam and you can go around and really do whatever you want, having different kinds of ether tools that allow you to upgrade your weapon to different colors is awesome. I like the fact that they added different colored ether tools. There's not just a one-size-fits-all. That adds a dynamic aspect to the game, which is another thing that's been missing from Zombies. We need the game to be more dynamic. You need to be forced to make decisions. And I know it kind of sucks because you're able to spawn in with Juggernog or a ray gun right off the bat, and that takes away some decision making, but there's a balancing effect to that, in that if you do those things and you spawn in with a jug cannon and a ray gun, there's a cooldown. You can't spawn in with them again for another couple of games. It's kind of like they took Gobblegums and they nerfed them. Obviously, it's not the same effectiveness as the Gobblegums, not the same, you know, purposes, but it's something similar. But yeah, I love the way acquisitions work in Cold War Zombies. Like I said, if you go into a Zombies game and you exfil with something, you can keep it either in your rucksack to go within next game, or you can put it in your stash to keep for a later game whenever you wish. So that's really cool. You also get rewards for doing missions, and those are stored separately, so you can have as many rewards as you can possibly collect, and that's also awesome. And at any time, if you store something that you no longer want, you can also destroy that acquisition. You don't need to spawn into the game and just bleed out. So they thought through a lot of these features, and right alongside acquisitions, right alongside acquisitions are schematics. And I have a full video talking about all of these things on my channel and explaining them fully in depth. But the schematics are what allow you to do things like spawn in with the ray gun or spawn in with a Juggernog can right off the bat, and then equip those things and have them ready to go within 5 seconds of your game. You're ready to go with those items. All you have to do is go into a game of Modern Warfare Zombies, find the schematic for said thing. Like, for example, you find the ray gun schematic, you exfil successfully, and you can then craft a ray gun that you can go into your game with next game. Now, again, the balancing effect is that there's a timer, so that if I go into my next game of Modern Warfare Zombies within another hour or two or so, I won't be able to build another ray gun. Now, I don't know the exact timer on the ray gun, but I know that some things in the game take up to 8 hours to recharge. I know the perks take up to 3 hours. It's kind of insane how long some of these things take, and for a mode that's supposed to be extremely replayable, like a Cold Call of Duty Zombies mode, I do wish the timers were watered down a little bit. It makes sense to balance them out with timers, but they're just a little bit too long. It really turns you away from wanting to play the mode because you have these schematics, which it doesn't need to be a feature in the game. Like I said, this does not have to be here. I didn't expect something like this to be here, but this is yet another piece of depth added in to the actual mode. But now that I have them here and I know the fact that they exist, I want to use them a little bit more. Maybe Gobblegums are a little bit overpowered, which I personally believe it's a PvE game. You're versing the computer, you're versing zombies, right? I want to be as powerful as possible, so I don't care how overpowered Gobblegums and elixirs and wonder weapons may be. I want all that stuff to be really powerful, but the developers and some other people seem to think that it should be a little bit more balanced, and I could understand that. So if that is the case, sure, but we got to reduce these cooldowns. The cooldowns are just a little bit too long. But yeah, in general, I absolutely love the schematics crafting system, and I love, of course, the acquisition system that ties directly along with that and the rucksack. And then on top of that, you have your main loadout with your contraband weapons that you get from exfilling with that said weapon in game. And another great thing is you don't have to wait to level up certain items. If you want a gun that you unlock at level 50, you go into zombies, you somehow find that gun, which may be a little bit of a challenge, but say you somehow find it, you get that weapon and you exfil with it, you then unlock that weapon permanently. Same thing goes with grenades, tacticals, lethals, whatever it may be. If it unlocks via a level, you can unlock it just by exfilling with it in zombies, and that is freaking awesome. Another thing I noticed is that I got an LT-53 Casimir in my game. That's the black hole grenade from Cold War Zombies. That also stood in my inventory. Now, it wasn't in my loadouts for me to pick and choose from, but just because I exfilled with it, I was then able to take it into my next match, which is so awesome. Zombies is always important. One of the more important parts of zombies, I should say, is progression, to me at least, and being forced to make decisions. So now you're being forced to make decisions not only in each individual game, which you may want to do and pick up, but you have to also think about future games and your future missions and challenges and tasks, and what you may want to bring into that next game. There's carryover progression, which we've never seen before in Call of Duty Zombies, and at the very least, the idea of that is really, really cool. Now, some things I don't like are definitely the weapon rarity system. I don't hate the weapon rarity system, but what I don't like about it is that if you exfil with a gold gun and you come back in with the gun, for some reason, maybe it's a bug, it doesn't come back in gold. You would expect you go through this full game of zombies and you exfil after doing whatever you do, but it takes a lot of time to upgrade your weapons. After doing all that for an hour, you'd expect that since you're gated at an hour, that you'd be able to carry over all of the weapon progression from your previous game into the next one. But no, you can't, which is a little bit unfortunate. Maybe the pack-a-punch level I understand, but if I came out of the game with a purple weapon, I kind of want to go back in with a purple weapon if I successfully exfilled. If I died and I bled out, sure, then I agree, I deserve to be punished for dying. But at the end of the day, your goal is probably always to get a wonder weapon or to probably customize the weapon that you want. So you'd probably use the insured slots anyways for the most part. So it is what it is, but that's just something that I have on the, in the back of my mind. But yeah, from game to game, you can bring your armored vest, your gas mask. If you find a self-revive kit and you don't die in that game and you successfully exfil, you can carry that self-revive kit into the next game. It's really, really cool. Now, I'll be honest with you, in terms of the regular raw gameplay, or not raw gameplay, in terms of just the story kind of quest, the missions, I'm sure there's explanations for it in the quotes and stuff like that, but I'm somebody who cares only about gameplay. I mean, I care about story a little bit, but for the most part, I care mostly only about gameplay. I just feel like I'm doing random things in the zombies mode, which isn't the worst thing ever, because doing random things can be fun. I mean, that really is part of Call of Duty Zombies, to run in circles and this and that, the other thing, but I usually have some kind of purpose. In this game, there's no round, so if I run in circles and shoot zombies, I'm just running in circles and shooting zombies. At least in traditional round-based, or even Outbreak, I'm running in circles and shooting zombies for a purpose to then get to the next wave. That said, there are a pretty decent amount of good things to do in this. There's some challenging things. Once you get to the tier 3 threat zone, it's crazy. It's really hard. I've died every time I've gone there, and I see a lot of other people die as well, so that's really cool. The challenge is really there. The difficulty level is really there. It's a high difficulty game mode, which is something that I've been looking for. Now, I'll also say that it does feel a little bit tedious to play inside that tier 3 zone. And what I mean by that is, sure, it's definitely a challenge, but at some points, it just feels like there's nothing you could actually do. If you don't have stamina up and you go into the tier 3 zone, it's like you're almost guaranteed to die. You can plate up on your armor, which, by the way, there's armor in this game mode, which is pretty cool. I know people say, what is this, Warzone? But it makes sense to have armor. Over a shield, it makes sense to have armor. I'd rather have a zombie shield because that's just something I'm used to, and they can do really cool things with a zombie shield, like with Go Ride Crovey inside of Black Ops 3 Zombies. But I feel like armor actually make sense. And I'm not somebody who wants it to be so realistic and for this, that, the other thing, because zombies is unrealistic. Again, it's a PvE game. I want crazy wonder weapons, crazy overpowered stuff, and I want to be shooting hordes and hordes of zombies and doing Easter eggs and going for high rounds. But yeah, I don't know. We'll keep this moving along. In terms of we'll get to gameplay in a second. I'm just looking at the main zombies menu real quick. There are daily and weekly challenges. Like I said, this all adds to the depth of the game. On top of leveling up your operator, you can do missions inside of the game. You can do daily challenges inside of the game. You can do weapon camos inside of the game. There's cross progression between zombies and multiplayer. You can exfil with a weapon you don't have in zombies and then take it into multiplayer. It's really, really awesome. It really does feel like a unified game. Now, again, I'm a bit of what I call a zombies boomer, and I like the traditional zombie stuff. And I do want zombies to be as far as possible from Warzone, from multiplayer, from DMZ. I want zombies to feel like its own thing. And I feel like that's something that it's lacking in this game mode. I don't feel like I'm playing Call of Duty Zombies, but at the same time, it does feel nice to have everything kind of feel like it's blended and meshed into one. It feels like a modern warfare game, if you know what I mean. It doesn't feel like I'm playing Modern Warfare multiplayer and this person's zombies or I don't know, zombies in a different universe. It feels like it's all combined into one meshed up mess, which is not what I prefer, but it works and it's cool. But yeah, getting back to the gameplay, the main gameplay, you can do the missions to complete acts, and eventually you'll go through them, you'll get some story information, you'll fight some bosses, this, that, the other thing. Really cool stuff. Now, what I'll say is I personally have not run into one wonder weapon in this game mode, which again takes away from the feel of it being zombies. Other than the fact that it feels like I'm playing Warzone, when I get by zombies, it doesn't feel really zombies-esque. I don't know how to explain that. It felt the same way in Cold War and even partially in Black Ops 4. It didn't really feel like I was getting hit by zombies. It felt like I was getting punched in multiplayer, whereas in Black Ops 3 and below, it really felt like I was playing zombies and getting hit by zombies. It still feels multiplayer and Warzone-esque. But hey, it is what it is. That's been something that I've adjusted to and I'm used to by now. What I don't really love is that the map is just Urzikstan. There's nothing zombified about it. It is this clean area. And you know something that I say all the time if you watch my content, you know that I really just want a zombies experience. I'm not the biggest fan of Outbreak, but what was one of the biggest things I said I wanted? I wanted a zombified map. What was my biggest pet peeve with the Cold War zombies maps? And why do I think why is Malware Totem my favorite map in Cold War? Sure, it has a cool Easter egg and stuff like that, but mainly the environment. The environment is so awesome. It's a dark city, and sure, it is a little bit clean in some areas, we'll say, a little bit shiny, but it feels the most like a zombies map out of any map in the game. And Firebase Z is just a bright, I don't know, it's just a bright map with strategically placed bloodstains and fire randomly. There's nothing really to run down. When you take a step back and look into it a little bit, it's a really nice environment. It's really cool, but it doesn't feel like zombies. It doesn't feel like this is an area that zombies are infesting. Whereas if you go to Origins, for some reason, that just feels like a zombies map. You're literally running around in the trenches. I mean, even Der Eisendrache, you have the Element 115 making stuff float around the map. There's an aura going on, right? And there's snow. They're creating a real mini environment. Gorod Krovi, there's planes in the sky, plane sound effects, dragons that you can ride, dragon eggs that you pick up, a little dragon that you equip on your character. That feel, that gameplay is nowhere to be found in this game mode, and it needs to come back. We have our field upgrades, but they are nothing compared to Specialist. And this is not just Modern Warfare Zombies. This has been an issue for a while. We're not going to get into it because this is really just the direction, and I hope this is something that changes in the future and kind of reverts back in the future. But that is something, again, that I notice is that uniqueness is missing, and it's a little bit harder to blend into a larger map like this, and I understand it takes more development time. And again, it goes back to the fact that this mode, they're most likely trying to create a really good mode, sure, and you can tell that they had passion when they created this mode, but this mode, I look at it as a testing ground. It's really for them to kind of warm up. Of course, they got to release something, right? I think Activision put them on the job to release something, and I think they wanted to do a good job, and they did do a good job. But I think it's very purposeful, like I said earlier, in that it will be helpful towards next year's and future Zombies experience, just because of the feedback we give on this game. But in terms of just the general, now we'll talk about the raw general gameplay. You're going around, you're just looking, you're looting. What's so special about it? Well, I never played DMZ before, but I can say that one of the main things you have to do in this game is, like I said, you have a rucksack and you can equip certain things when you spawn into that rucksack, but you can exfil with certain things in that rucksack, but there's tons of chests to open up, tons of areas to explore, and you can have stuff in that rucksack that you then go to a buy station and sell back to gain points, and you can buy wall weapons with it. So there's really cool cool systems like that. And the general raw gameplay feels good. It actually feels good to shoot the heads off of zombies in this game mode. It kind of feels good to shoot the zombies. It doesn't feel perfect like it did in a game like Black Ops 3 Zombies, but it does feel pretty damn good and satisfying in this game, and that's something that I can say with certainty. Now, one of my issues is that when you run around the map to look for weapons, it may be a little bit difficult to find one. Now, I know you also spawn in with weapons, so it's not that big of a deal, but like, I literally went around the map and looked for 10 minutes through a lot of stuff, and it took me a while to find some weapons. Eventually, once I found one, I came across another real quick, and another, but you can literally go through periods of time of not finding anything too valuable to you, which isn't a big deal, or the biggest deal, I should say, because like I said earlier, you have your buy stations, which you can put stuff, as you're looking around the map, you can put stuff in your rucksack, and then you can sell that stuff back using the buy station. But I don't know, it's like, it also, part of me, although I enjoy the general gameplay that I've been playing, it almost feels like Call of Duty Modern Lootfare Zombies. Like, it feels like my primary objective in this game mode is to loot and extract with that loot, to get the best loot possible and extract with it. It doesn't feel like my primary purpose is to kill zombies, which is a bit of an issue. But yeah, pulling it back now, I really want to just wrap this up because I've been talking for a while. I repeated myself a couple of times, but I think you guys get the general gist of what's going on here. Do I think this is the best zombies mode of all time? To sum it up, put a bow on it, ending where we started off. No, it's definitely not the best zombies mode of all time. Do I like this better than Outbreak and Cold War Zombies? Honestly, I don't know. This is still to be determined, but I do think so. I have to play more. I have to go in and just even understand more. I haven't even gotten a wonder weapon yet in this mode. There needs to be more exploring. Like I said, this isn't my first impressions video. This isn't my review of the game mode necessarily, but I think that this game mode, at least based off my first impressions, is heading in a decent direction. Not for zombies as a whole, definitely not. I don't want zombies to even think about going in this direction, let alone that we're here. I'm gonna pray that this is a one-off thing, but considering it's a one-off thing, I respect it for what it is, and I've been having some fun. The weapon rarities, the systems in general are pretty much the same as Cold War, so it's a familiar feel, and the additions do blend into the gameplay fairly well. Overall, I say it's a W, not a massive W, but I say it's a W. From the systems and the depth to the smooth gameplay, I say it is a W. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, and make sure to subscribe for more Elite COD Zombies content, and I'll see you later.